A couple seconds here, wait for people to come in.
We are live.
And we're going to talk about leading with intent.
Ooh.
The secret weapon to...
Secret weapon. I like that.
The secret weapon to...
Is it really that much of a secret?
A great company culture.
Okay.
I don't think it's know. I don't think you know, actually.
You don't think what? You don't think it's a secret?
I wasn't that aware of company culture a few years ago. So
okay. Well, it's because our culture is in our room. And this is our office where behind us you might see a deer just kind of walking around in the back. It's not ours.
All right.
Yes.
Let's face it. We've all been there.
Yes.
You know that job where the office felt like a dentist's waiting room, tense, sterile, and about as fun as flossing a cactus? Just thinking about it gives us the chills. But then there's the other side of the coin, an amazing company where the energy crackles like popcorn in a movie theater. Everyone's buzzing with ideas, and you high-five colleagues so often you develop repetitive, super awesome interactions, or otherwise known as RSI.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Research shows that companies with strong cultures have 17% higher productivity, 54% lower employee turnover. That's a pretty significant difference, right? When you say?
Yeah.
It's like a difference between watching paint dry.
I mean, come on. You know, when you go into a store that has a great company culture, the grocery store. I mean, we even talk about it like this. The grocery store that we choose to go to costs a couple bucks more. But man, the people are so much nicer. And you just know that that's that's pervasive throughout. They have a good culture.
All right. But that's a big difference. But when you say,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
It's like the difference between watching paint dry and going to a Beyonce concert.
Absolutely.
Or a Taylor Swift concert.
I'd rather go to a concert than watch paint dry. Just saying.
All right. So let's ditch the cactus flossing and embrace the Beyonce vibes, because a thriving company culture isn't about paint drying.
It's not.
It's about creating a space where people feel valued, supported, inspired, and do the best work. That's the kind of place where magic happens, and that's what we're all about, right?
Yes.
All right, let's transform our company from culture, from cactus to concert.
Cactus to concert. I like that. So hi, I'm Ashley Baptiste.
I'm Gus.
Yay.
The events guy.
Gus, the events guy. Ashley, the cool chick.
Anyway, we have an event coming up. I don't even know the date. I never know what day it is. I never know what day it is.
I'm the calendar chick. So February 13th, which is a Tuesday at noon, we have a virtual event on leading with intent, preparatory steps for cultural transformation. We're really excited. We're featuring Leslie Ellis. She's the founder and CEO of Meaningful Change Consulting. So she's going to talk about kind of what you need to do as a leader and as a change leader, and discussing leading with intent. So leading with intent is a leadership approach that emphasizes clarity, purpose, and empowerment to drive positive change and achieve desired outcomes. It's more than just giving orders like, hey, everybody, we're going to do this. It's really more about inspiring and motivating people to actively participate in achieving a shared vision.
You know, it's interesting because we talk about this a lot. People hire us to be coaches, and they glom onto this perfect job. They think, if I can only get this job,
if I could just get that job,
and then they get the
job,
I
know I would kill it.
Yeah, or
I know I would rock it.
If they only saw my skills, if they only understood what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm done. I've done this for years. I have a lot of experience. I'm highly educated.
And then I always ask questions. Well, like, what did your boss want? Or what did your senior management want you to do? What's your role? What was that? And they said, well, they should know what I do. I'm so good. I'm so that. I'm so.
We hear it a lot. And what's interesting about that, or they should have known that I wanted to get a promotion. Like, I've worked here, I have my advanced degree, and you're just kind of like, yeah, but did you tell him you wanted a promotion? Yeah. Or like, did you? Anyway, you gotta actively participate.
In a thriving, awesome culture, the day one you're hired, you understand the path to success.
Yes,
you understand your role there and where you can be. And we've seen some companies. We work with some companies, and really big companies that are in. We work with one company and went from 0 to 9 figures in 3 years. And some of those people started there in the beginning of the company culture. The culture had to change for the better. of the company.
Right. For the growth.
There was
so much transition.
Still a fun and awesome company to work for, but
different.
And there's people that came in the beginning sort of had to leave. They felt like they didn't fit because they didn't grow with the company.
Exactly. And that's okay. Like, I think it's one of those things where you hear it said, like, the person who got you there isn't going to get you to the next step, or the way that you were behaving before isn't going to get you to that next step. So, to develop culture and to cultivate culture to a point where it's healthy and it's inclusive and people are actively engaged and participating, you may need to start doing something differently now than you did at the beginning. Right. Because it's a different vibe, like things change. So you still want to be, clear about your core vision, but you may have to go about cultivating that culture a little differently. So that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Yeah. And this is what the topic is going to be about on February
13th, which is a Tuesday.
At least I know it's February.
At noon Eastern. Yes. With Leslie Ellis.
So
we're really excited about this. Yeah.
I got something on there. But anyway.
You go to what?
I got something on the 14th. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
On somebody's podcast or something. Anyway.
Okay.
Just remember, it's kind of funny. The 13th is the day before the 14th. Anyway.
13th is the day before the 14th. I'm so
glad. I know that much.
So glad. Aren't you glad that you chimed in to this and that you're watching this? So
anyway, there's some key tenets to having a great company culture. Ashley mentioned one: clear vision, values, goals, and the leaders being able to show those or demonstrate those clear values, goals,
and have a compelling vision for the future. So we talk in change management about current state and future state. You need to have a compelling vision, or your leaders need to have a compelling vision of the future state that they want to create, and clearly define core values that guide the decision making and value, because that's really the filter through which everything's going to happen. All of your decisions are made through that. All of your actions are done through that. What's next?
To have a great culture, you got to have transparency and great communication.
They communicate openly and honestly with their team. They share information and rationale behind decisions. One of the other things we hear a lot in change management is really being clear about your why. Like, why are we doing this? Why is this important? Why is this helpful for you? We also, somebody said, I listen to the radio station I listen to is WIIFM. It's what's in it for me. So,
yeah. I had a business. I had a car business one time, and I had it for a couple of years. I had a pretty nice team working for me. I had like 6 or 7 guys working for me, and the culture was pretty loose, but we all had fun. But then they were giving me a hard time about something, about money or something like that. And I literally brought out the checkbook.
Like, here,
you want to go through? You want to see where the money is? Like, come on, guy. And one of my employees said, "Boss, I feel like we should be paying you to work here." It's like, dude,
that's transparency.
I said, there's a lot of expenses in running something like this. And, there's a cost, and there's a people cost. There's a money cost. We say this all the time. It's simple. It's not easy.
Right.
And it goes along with culture, too.
Well, and I think we've heard so much in the past about how you always want to look a certain way, and it has to look really good, and it has to be perfect. And I think in more recent times, we've realized, like, you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. And if you try to make it look like it is, people feel, even your own employees feel like you're not being honest with them. So having that transparency is really important.
I love this next one.
Yeah.
Empowerment and trust. As I become more seasoned as a leader, I've learned to go, I don't want to do it. And not that I don't want to do it, but I'll leave that decision to my staff. Go ahead. You guys handle it.
You figure it out.
I'll give you direction. It clears my mind. It gives them power.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of times they're like, really? Like, you want, like, just do it. Just figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
What's the worst thing can happen?
And it'll make you a stronger, it'll make you more confident to try it again.
If you make a mistake, we can learn lessons from that. Actually, we were talking this morning. She was on a call with somebody, and we just learned some new techniques. And She didn't follow techniques fully, and I don't think she fully
grasped. See, because
but it doesn't matter. After I was done, I brought the techniques out.
This is what
we were talking about this morning.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh wow, now it makes sense."
And what's really helpful too was like I've heard about these steps before, but when you're in the midst of an actual call or a conversation, you're not thinking if you're not thinking about them because they don't come naturally, right? You're learning something new. Yeah, you need to be reminded. And then when somebody tells you like a week later, like, well, here's where you could, should have changed that in the conversation. Like, I don't remember this a week later, but the Gus was able to give me that feedback right after. It was really helpful. So the next one is focus on purpose. Connect with the individual's work to the bigger picture and how it contributes to the organization's missions and goals. So
that's so important.
Exactly. It's like, why am I, or especially when there's a change, why are you asking me to do it this way? Why do I have to do it differently than I've done it before? I've done it this way for so long, which is an issue that so many companies are dealing with right now, right? We have to change up our process, or we have to just change even the order of our process. Well, why do I have to do that? Because change is uncomfortable. So if you focus on the purpose and how what I'm doing is helpful to the big picture, then I'm more on board, or I get it, right? I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just try this.
Yeah. And the next thing is accountability and adaptability, meaning holding somebody accountable for what they've done and allowing them to change if the situation calls for it.
Yeah.
Adapting to the next situation.
Absolutely. And don't forget about development and feedback. So actively investing in the development and growth of your team members and providing regular constructive feedback is critical, right? We're in the process.
As a growing company, I think we might be doing too much development.
Probably. but I mean, it's that commitment, right? It's the knowing somebody that I care enough about my company that I'm going to do what I can to develop myself and make sure that they're getting developed too, because we all win from that investment.
We sort of talked about this yesterday. You develop this company culture, and if people can't hang in your culture, or you can't hang in the culture, people self-select.
Yeah, they'll self-select out. They'll self-select out. You know what? This really isn't for me, and that's okay. Like, it's tough. You put an investment into somebody, and you don't want to see them walk out the door. But frankly, if they're not feeling the vibe, they're better off leaving, and you're better off with them leaving, because if they're not meshing with the culture, they're going to pull themselves and everyone around them down.
And you can identify.
You can't afford that.
You can identify great cultures. I mean, if you look at the I'm not even sure who puts the polls out there, but the top companies to work for.
Right. You see them all the time.
You see those lists. Yeah, those lists are the top 10. Yeah, JD. Those lists are on there. Those teams, those companies have great company cultures. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
But there are still some people who don't fit in them, right? There are still some people who are like, yeah, this isn't really for me.
We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Ashley and I, we work. Our main business works with the utility industry, power, gas, electric, water. Anyway, there's a very large company within that's a client of ours. We were talking about the culture has to be. There's got to be something.
It sounds rough.
It sounds rough because they get people there that work there and climb up through the ranks, and then they say, "I'm leaving and I'm done and I'm out," and I'm just like.
Man,
it seems like you have it made there, but why would you be doing like they allow people like run a business and work for them? Like, no, I'm getting out to run my business just because it's like, wow, really, the culture is like the culture's that bad.
Yeah, it's interesting,
and nobody sees that.
And I'm not going to tell you who that
but if you're
no matter
in that,
how much you if you're in that,
but if you're in the midst of that bad culture, and culture comes from. Top down, and maybe the top person is just holding on to the reins, just trying to
or they're just waiting till their retirement.
And usually that top person is a CEO, and that CEO is answering to a board of directors,
right?
And the board of directors is answering to the shareholders.
Nobody feels very confident in the decisions that they're making because they're just kind of like tiptoeing, right? Yeah. So you can tell when you walk into a company. And everybody's like either not committal, they're not making decisions, or they feel like they can't, or I have to check with like 20 people first, or you feel it. You feel it. It's a vibe. It's an energy.
I don't know this to be true, but I'll take a wild guess. If you walk into a company and you're in there for a meeting and they present you, hey, you want something to drink, you want something to eat, and they open up a refrigerator or a side snack that has, cans of soda, juice, snacks, stuff like that.
Is that a nurturing environment?
That culture is probably really good. On the other side of the coin, you walk into a big company, a huge company, and hey, you want to get something to eat or drink, or a snack or something.
Vending machines outside.
Or they walk you down to the cafeteria where the vending machine is. That culture's probably a little bit more challenged than the other culture.
Outside. Yeah, no kidding, totally. And then I think, what's fun too, I mean, we produce conferences, right? So our main focus in our business is we produce business conferences. And what I have to tell people who haven't been to our events before, we're informal. I'm informal. I'm an informal person because I find that when we let our guard down and have a conversation with each other, that's where the real learning happens. That's where the real meat is. So, I invite people to come to our conferences almost like, come hang out with us because we're fun people, but also because they're going to learn from everybody else who's in the room. So that's the culture of our conferences.
So our virtual program is coming up on February 13th. I remember
February 13th. Very good. It's at noon Eastern time.
But anyway, the link is below in the comments.
Yes.
What are some actionable steps you can do right now? You can lead by example. I mean, if you're a leader, lead by example.
If you're a leader and you're not very happy with where your company is right now or where you think it should be going, start showing up as the leader you want for the results that you want.
Yeah.
Lead by example.
Celebrate progress.
Absolutely. You've got to celebrate those wins. People have to know. They will stay engaged if you tell them they're doing a great job.
Hey, you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, awesome. So you're doing a great job.
Already.
You're doing a great job. We do that all the time.
What else?
Continued communication.
Yes.
That's probably that's got to be the worst one. If you're
not telling people what's going on, man, they make stuff up.
Even if it's challenging.
Yeah.
Bring your team together and say, guys, here's what's going on. We have some challenging situations in our business. Our business has changed drastically in the last 4 months because of one key component in it has changed drastically, and
but we're just very upfront about it. I mean, we're very transparent with everybody in the company. Like, this is what's going on right now. And this is it. So
create an open feedback loop.
Absolutely.
And even, we have a person on our team right now that's been giving us a lot of feedback, and it's good. And I'm like, yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. But I'll be the first person to say I'm really good at it if I get feedback, and we've done that before with challenges or it didn't work.
Maybe there's a better way to do it.
I'll be the first person that says, hey,
try it again.
Here's what's happened in the past. If you can figure out a way to do that better, or here's a challenge we learned from our mentor. Try to go an entire day, not just, I'll say entire day,
I know where he's going
with agreeing with everything that comes into you initially.
Yes.
Saying, yes,
I agree.
That's a fantastic idea.
Absolutely.
When we tried that in the past,
100%.
Here's where the challenges we had. If we can find a way around those challenges, perhaps we could try that again.
So to really speak in the positive.
To speak in the positive.
Like don't say no.
Try it when you get home.
Say yes.
Try it at home with your family. You ain't gonna last 30 seconds. Start over. Right when we first had that challenge, man.
It is. It's harder than you think. I mean, it's kind of like saying, go without your phone for a day, which, at one point in our lives was nothing, and now it seems impossible. So. But yeah, it's a great activity, at least to focus on being intentional, right? On that. So with that, we're going
to roll out of here. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for joining us. The Gus and Ashley Show, or the Ashley and Gus Show, depending.
We'll see you tomorrow.